Hi, I'm Rachel Coventry with Curtis Orchard, and we like to can in the off season. Now this isn't for the store, this is just our own personal fun, but thought you might like to learn some tips and tricks. Obviously I don't have time in the fall to do any canning, so our tip is to take all of our tomatoes and put them in the freezer. This actually saves you a step. You don't have to do the blanching step to get the skin to remove, because as you thaw them out, you can peel the skin right off. And we use scissors just to cut out the center piece here. And then the skin peels right off. These are still a little bit frozen, and I took them out of the freezer on Thursday, and today is Saturday. Thursday, probably midday I did it. And we wanted it to just be kind of with a little bit of liquid still left in it, but not too much, as that makes the process of cooking it down even faster. What a mess! It's freezing cold! Yeah, it's freezing cold. That's why we wear gloves, because it's so cold.
I even have if you're still videotaping, I even have a liner under my glove for extra warmth. Because it's just so cold to blanch, or I guess it's not called blanching, to peel these frozen tomatoes. Double gloving it here.
You want some small jars?
Some small jars.
Okay. I didn't put it in. So this is our completed sauce, and we like to cheat and add a little bit of tomato paste to it to make it thicker. It just depends on how thick you like your sauce and how long you want to cook it down for. This has probably been cooking for almost an hour and a half, and we've added Italian seasoning, Lowry seasoning, thyme, basil, oregano, fresh from our garden, a lot of it that we dried ourselves, onion, fresh garlic, anything flavoring that you like, and salt, pepper. Just, we taste it throughout the process, so there's not really a specific amount that we add to it. We're just always taste testing and stirring it and letting it cook and get a nice flavor. Then I'm going to show you how to actually can it. This is a little bit of a messy process, and it takes a long time. We've been doing this since 9 a.m. and now it is just after noon, and we're just now starting to put them in the canner. Important thing with canning is you want everything really hot to keep things sterile. So I like to keep the jars hot in the oven, just on low, like 180 to 200, and I'll pull them out here. I usually do it in a whole batch. I'll get a whole bunch out, but just for this purpose, I'm going to just show you one jar. So I take my jar, it's nice and hot, put my, I'm going to fill the jar with our sauce. And it's called headspace, and you want to leave just not too much headspace. That's because it's going to expand as it boils. And it's important to not have any bubbles in it, so we want to take this wand and rub it along the inside and make sure there's no bubbles. And this also will measure that we have the appropriate headspace. So it looks like we've got about a ½ inch headspace. That looks good. Okay. Now it's important that you don't have any sauce on the lid, on the top of the lid, because you want to have a good seal. So we're going to take a paper towel and wipe it down. Now I'm going to get my lids, which have been kept in hot water. That just helps the lid seal. It also sterilizes it. And I need a narrow mouth. This is just a magnetic wand. It helps me reach into the hot water. And then I'm just going to tighten it down finger tight. Not so tight that you can't get it undone, but you want it tight enough because as the boiling water, it'll move it and shift it, and you want it to stay on the lid. Then I'm going to take my canner, lift it up, and set it in my boiling water canner. Now you can buy a special water bath canner. It's really just a big pot, and you want to make sure your water is going to cover the jars, and it needs to all be boiling before you start your timer. It's going to be 40 minutes in the water bath canner. we like to get an assembly line going here where one person is filling jars, the other person is tamping them down and making sure there's no bubbles. And then we will start wiping off the lids. All right, we are going to add the rest of the jars. Boiling water. There, and you can see it fits 6 jars, and it's just about ready to be timed. So we're gonna put the lid on, keep the heat going, and set our timer. Once the timer beeps, we will remove the jars, and they need to sit for 24 hours to make sure they get a good seal, and you will hear this popping sound. That way you know that they have sealed. Now it's been 40 minutes, so we are going to take our nice hot jars out of the water bath canner, and we should start to hear some popping as they start to seal. As they cool, they will start popping. You want to give them a little bit of space. I didn't hear the popping sound, but you can touch them too and feel that they're not popped. The next day, it's important to come and check them, that they've all sealed, that they can't pop them up like the buttons. If they haven't sealed, it's okay to use it fresh. You could can it again, but you'd have to heat everything back up and do the whole process over again. But if any don't seal, I like to just use those right away within 7 days.
Hello, my name is Gina, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about canning for the season. This year we have some really wonderful canning products. If you've never canned before, this is a great starter kit. It has the funnel that we talked about on our canning video, and the jar remover, as well as the wand we use to check for bubbles and check your headspace while you're canning. This is a great starter kit, or if you just need a couple of miscellaneous pieces, this is a very popular item, as well as the canning cage to put into the bottom of your canning pot. This year we have amazing canning tomatoes here at Curtis Orchard, and so if you came to pick up canning tomatoes, it would also be easy to come pick up some of your essentials for canning. As you know, we did our canning in March because we're a little bit too busy right now. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the apron I was wearing. My great-grandmother hand-stitched this apron in the 30s, and I love wearing it anytime I'm baking or canning because it just makes me feel like closer to her and the things that she would have done in her life. If you look really close at the stitching, the belt is a good indication that it was hand-stitched because the stitches are not the same length. That's always a good indicator that somebody took time and did this by hand. Hope you enjoy our video on canning, and maybe come pick up some of the essentials for canning this season.